Welcome to episode 4 of Safety Snacks, a series of bite sized videos and interactive workshops that will help you protect yourself from doxing, hacking, and other kinds of online abuse. My name is Gigi Muhammad, and I run PEN America's Online Abuse Defense Program.
Hi, I am Gisela Perez de Hacha, and I'm an investigative reporter and safety trainer.
Nowadays, it's impossible to be a journalist without having an online presence, but that can expose you to harassment. This week, we're going to focus on how to protect yourself from hacking. Most of us have multiple devices, laptops, desktops, multiple phones, and we have dozens of accounts, emails, banking, social media. Hacking is when somebody tries to break into your devices or accounts without your consent. So hackers try to steal your identity, leak your information, impersonate you, infect your devices with viruses, and do all other sorts of other harms.
The good news is that there's actually very concrete steps you can take to protect yourself from hacking. The two most important steps are, first one, to use long complex passwords, which we'll talk about today, and secondly, to use two-factor authentication. One way to think about it is, for example, think of your devices in your accounts like your home, right? You lock your doors, you lock your windows to protect yourself and your loved ones, as well as your stuff from intruders. By using long and complex passwords, as well as turning on two-factor authentication, it's like if you're putting not only one big lock on a door, but two big locks on a door. In the previous episode, we explained what two-factor authentication is and how it protects you from hacking, how to set it up as well.
And in this episode, we're going to talk about password hygiene. Think about it in a bit like brushing your teeth. It's boring, annoying, but it saves you from getting cavities and losing all of your teeth. And we don't really want that. So the first step is understanding what constitutes a good password. Hazela, can you explain that to us?
Yes, this is super important. So a good password, a strong password, has at least 16 characters. If you go to the website, How Secure is My Password, and type a random 6-digit password, for example, like a birthday, which is a typical one that everyone uses, you'll see that it will only take a few seconds to hack because there are computers that churn through passwords till they guess the right one. Go ahead, pause this video and try it out. Remember, don't put any of your actual passwords, just pick something random just so that you get a feel of how strong and secure any password might be. The longer and more complicated your password is, the longer it will take for a computer to guess. This is why we recommend passwords with at least 16 characters. And because computers are better with words and numbers, the best password is actually a random string of letters and numbers, or even better, a passphrase. For example, something like correct horse battery staple would be a great password. And it has the added advantage of being hilarious. You can also use poetry. You know, I have a friend who uses self-affirmation. I am beautiful and strong, because you're going to type your passwords pretty often, or even music lyrics of your favorite band. We know that resetting your passwords can seem really daunting, especially if you try to do them all at once. But what we recommend is actually taking baby steps. Make a list of your 10 most sensitive accounts. We're talking, I don't know, Facebook, Twitter, your email, your bank account, right? Anything that you would really, really want to keep off of the public eye. And let's pause the video, jot these 10 accounts down, and we'll come back in a second. So whenever you're ready, just start by resetting the passwords on those accounts. If you go to Google and just type how to reset password, that is always a good idea when you feel like you're getting lost. And while we're at it, it's also a good time to reevaluate your security questions. In episodes 1 and 2, we showed you how easy it is for someone to find out personal information about you online, say your mother's maiden name, or your birthday, or even the street you grew up in, right? This is exactly the kind of information that we all often use to answer our security questions. What we recommend is using answers that are either invented or at least not findable in Google. For example, what pet did you have growing up? A shark, right? Something completely made up. I could never have a shark as a pet. The street you grew up on, Pluto, or something along those lines. Just remember, store your passwords in a secure place. Oh, Gigi, I know this is a lot that we just gave you. And then what is even a secure place? You're telling me to reset all my passwords and each has to be a different one. And you're telling me to invent my security questions. How on earth am I going to remember all of this, Gigi?
That is actually a good way to do it. And that's a great question. And it brings me to our last step in this episode. One of the best tools you can have in your digital safety toolbox is a password manager. I love it. It's a software that allows you to securely store all of your passwords in one place. So, with password managers, they will generate and automatically fill in a long, complex passwords for you. So, you don't have to remember them. Honestly, like having a password manager is one of the very best things you can do to stay safer online. So, one reason to use a password manager is because people tend to reuse the same password for multiple accounts. I know I've done that multiple times in the past, and reusing passwords leave you more vulnerable to having your accounts be compromised. For example, if a hacker knows one of your passwords, sometimes they might actually have access to multiple of your accounts. Another good reason is to avoid phishing with a PH and not the sport. Phishing is when hackers present targets with fake login pages that look real in order to trick them into entering their usernames and passwords. With a password manager, so it's not only that it creates strong and unique passwords to protect you from hacking, but they can also detect fake login pages to protect you from phishing. You might be thinking, but isn't it tricky to put all of your passwords in one place? What if your password manager gets hacked? Hisela, can you explain that to us?
This is actually one of the questions that I get the most from journalists. So good password managers are encrypted, which means that the company that runs the password manager stores all your passwords as a ramble scramble of letters and characters that are and numbers that are pretty much unreadable to anyone except the one who has the key. So even if the password manager company gets hacked, the hacker will only see this scramble and not your actual passwords. That person, the person who holds the key, is you. You are the only one who can unscramble all those passwords with your master password, which is the equivalent of the key to an encrypted vault. It is very important before we move on to note that not all password managers are equally good or reliable. We know that some solid ones are 1Password, Dashlane, LastPass, and Bitwarden. We're going to show you 1Password, but be sure to do your research and choose the password manager that best fits you. Now, let's take a look at 1Password. 1Password actually costs money, but it's free for journalists. If you're not a journalist, but if you're in some kind of public service work, you can contact the company to see if they will offer you a discount or give you a free subscription. They tend to be flexible about it. To set up 1Password, you will need to create your master password. This is what you will use whenever you want to access your vault and your account where all your passwords are scrambled and encrypted. Choose a long and complicated password. Remember, a bunch of random words with some characters and numbers thrown in work best, a passphrase, a fun poem. And once you've set up your master password, 1Password will provide you with a secret key. The first time you sign in, your password manager on a brand new device, they will need both your master password and your secret key. If you keep using the same device, your master password is enough to get into your vault. Lastly, it is important to know that most password managers offer both a mobile app and a browser extension. So they're very conveniently available and easy to use whenever you need a login anywhere. That was a lot. I think that's enough for today, Gigi.
I think so too. Thank you so much for watching the fourth episode of Safety Snacks. If you got stuck on anything in this video and need help or just want some moral support, we'll be running a live workshop on this content on June 30th at 12 p.m. ET. Make sure to tune in. In the next episode, get a grip of your Twitter account. We'll talk about how to tighten your privacy and security settings on Twitter to make sure you're not leaking private info all over the place. Remember, stay safe online and do not forget to grab your next safety snack.